Show us your tips, powered by Pro Group Racing. Daggy and Beaver with you to look forward to Saturday racing after a brief freshen up, half a week off, and we're back to Saturday racing now. Tricky day coming up, Beaver. We've got fresh Moonee Valley, which can be a bit tricky, and Randwick, a lot of form from heavy back to dry. A few fresh up horses, a few horses that might be better suited finally getting back on the dry. So a bit to wade through. How's lockdown life in Sydney?
Lockdown life is locked down, mate. So just trying to keep myself busy. Got enough happening with work, and then just trying to keep active outside of that, mate, and keep the mind ticking over so I can find some winners.
Beautiful. It's all you can do. And a good way to keep it ticking over. One of the great challenges in life is wading into the form. So should we head to Randwick first though? So over the next few weeks, a lot of meetings have been moved from what I've read today. A lot of stuff's been moved out of Rose Hill and Warwick Farm towards, I see there's a Kembla Saturday coming up in a few weeks again, I think. And there's a few more Kenzo and Newcastle meetings on the horizon, but we'll cross those bridges when we come to it. For now, we are heading to Randwick with the rails in the 12-metre mark to the 900, 10 for the remainder, which I couldn't find a heap of historical stuff about. But I've got a feeling it may by the end of the day be outside fence. We know sort of once you get a bit wider at Randwick, if they can get to the outside fence, it is a bit quicker out there. As I've said, it's currently soft, but some good drying conditions around. I think we're going to be on a good track, and I think it's a very interesting day's racing. We kick off with the 1,300-metre benchmark, 72. Not the easiest kick off in the world, Beaver. How did you start the day?
Yeah, I didn't think it was overly a tricky race, to be honest. There's a few horses here in the last couple of starts that have got some reasonable form. I think the top four have all sort of pretty much won or come second in their last start, if not won the start before that. Look, I narrowed it down to two, and I've got Skedaddle on top. I thought its win last start midweek was pretty soft and won well after it resumed, and was caught a little bit wide when resuming, and was still a nice run. The form out of that race has stood up, and then it's stepped up in distance and won very nicely at Kensington last start. Look, I think this sets up pretty nicely again for it. It's got the 2 kilo claim, so I've got it on top. The main danger I've got is Super Effort. Look, flew home last start at Randwick once it got clear. It was a nice run and wasn't far off a horse such as Fast Coney, who's going fantastically well at the moment. So I think that was a nice little run with that, and you can line that form up. And then prior to that, won nicely up at Newcastle fairly comfortably. So I think it could be the main danger, third up after a spell. So I've gone for those two.
Yeah, similar. I thought there was. I like Skedaddle's win. I think was better than I know. It sort of had a few favors, but once it found space, and it did have to do a bit of chasing for a while there along the rail, and once it got in top gear, it was pretty good. I like what you've said about Super Effort. I think the step up in distance definitely suits it. Just ground through the line, but hit it pretty well. I think Rustic Steel might. I have no real basis for it, but I think Rustic Steel might be potentially the best horse in the race. But it doesn't have a great deal of guts to the form. And then you've got Salik, who was off the rail, Canterbury, and I think Joviality will run better back to dry as well. So I know I've mentioned 5 horses there, but I think the market's about right in short. Skedaddle will run quite well, and I do like the each way around Super Effort. Well, it's actually been back since I did the form, so I guess a positive sign there. Race 2, the Highway. Did you spend any time on this?
No, I didn't spend any time on this, mate. Really hard to line up, and a lot of horses coming into this with some decent forms. A bit too hard for me.
Yeah, I didn't do much form beyond I had a look at the market, and I thought Perfect Pitch might be over the odds at 20s, but it hasn't done a lot. It hasn't won for a very long time. So we'll move on to the third, which is the benchmark 78 over the 1,800 meters, where I think you've got to sort of stick with La Chevalier again. A favourite here. It was pretty impressive at the end of the day. Had a perfect run, but still bowled in, was strong through the line. The only concern about it I have is the wet to bringing the wet form to the dry now. Um, I thought Badush should have finished closer. I did think it got a bit lucky from that point of view, but we'll see how this stacks up because I could probably back Badush again off that run later in the day. So Le Chevrolet on top from the obvious in Zing. Outside that, I didn't find a great deal. Potentially, maybe the Hawks horse down the bottom just might be fresh blood there and was okay. And it's about $17 from the gate. I think can maybe be the one at a price if you're looking for one. Ricolto, that is number 11. How do you line them all up?
Yeah, pretty much like you did, mate. So I was going to mention that to you, stole my thunder there,
Oh,
but
sorry.
the Chevrolet, that's all good. I do like. I tipped it last start and it won well and knuckled down and thought it was quite a good win. And its form prior to that was fairly solid and should be able to go on with it now. I don't think this is a stronger affair than what it won last start. To be brutally honest, I think it probably slightly little weaker affair. And I thought at odds around the $17 mark, as you mentioned, Ricalto from the Hawks stable. I think it's steps up in distance here. It was nice at Newcastle and then powered home last start against Canadian Spice, who had all the favours controlling the pace. So I think it could be the knockout chance if you're looking for some value.
Very good. Great minds do think alike sometimes. The boys version is race number 4 again over the 1800 meters, another 78 where the horse I just spoke about now, which is Badush, now gets Hugh Bowman off a luckless run last start out to a distance that it's probably ready for as well, and will run well. Obviously terrified of Criminal Code, but and Brock Ryan's flying. So the market's right. I don't have really a lot to add beyond that. The other chances in the market, so the obvious chances there. Not a great deal to add in terms of market. How do you line them up?
Yeah, I've gone for Mr. G in this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the last 2 runs since coming back from the Queensland Derby have been outstanding. Look, it really let down nicely last start. I was super impressed by that win. It beat Shuffle Up by 2.5 lengths, and Shuffle Up come out and won yesterday very nicely. It hit the line really hard, so I think that's pretty good form lines and a good pointer for this. I like to follow sort of that winning form in the winter, and particularly if the horses that they beat come out and run well. So I think Mr. G around the 550 mark is very $6 maybe is a very nice bet. Criminal Code won well last start, but it was well backed, which was always a good pointer. So I'll be keen to see if there's any money for it as well. But Mr. G for me, I think it's hardest to beat.
Yeah, very good. The 9-day backup there as well. Another tick for Mr. G. Let's get to the midway benchmark 72 over the 1300 meters. Well, obviously Zorocat bolted one in a few weeks back and is the starting point in the market for decent enough reason. The two at odds that I'm interested that I will play each way in with Liston Varna, who's been going around midweek grade for a while, but carrying big weights for a long time. And been carrying 60s and 61s and now the first time in a life age is down to 55 with I know it's Kathy O'Hara, but I think is potentially or used to at least be the best horse in the race. It's now 2 years between wins, which is an obvious concern, and probably why it's $17, I believe. Is that right? 17. And Epic Dan was just given none last time and really hit the line well. Goes from the apprentice to Nash outside gate. I'd hope by race 5 we have a feel for whether the outside fence is a place to be, and I'm pretty keen to follow that one as well. So there's two I'm interested to play at double figures in this race. What about yourself?
Yeah, look, I didn't really like the race at all, to be brutally honest. I found it pretty hard to line the form up. I know Zorocat won well last start, but to beat Asham, who was pretty disappointing last week. So again, hard to get a guide on that form. Catapult, I did tip last week. It was a little bit disappointing. May improve third up and might be a victim of the second up syndrome. But yeah, outside of that, I thought your your pick in while Epic Down was not a bad one. If you're looking for something at odds around the $15 mark, um, certainly a fair shout. So yeah, didn't really like the race. I'd be looking for value. Epic Dam might be the one.
Beautiful. Race 6 is 1,500 meter benchmark 78. A few of our usual suspects here. Do you want to lead us away on this one?
Oh, mate, I thought this was nearly, if not harder than the last one. You've got a lot of horses in the market here that actually don't, the top three, they don't win very often. They always promise to run well next start. Canasta, who races on the pace. Yeah, I can't back it. As favourite, Betcha Flying, is capable of a good run. It's probably the one I'd lead to more so out of and worry of falls. I just can't back at the moment. So I've sort of fell into it a couple of times. This preparation, not any longer for me. So I went for a little bit wider in the market, and I come up with the resuming Dick Whittington. I thought it could run well, probably short of its best, but can certainly win a race like this fresh. Drawn wide, could be suited, get into the running line, and power down the outside if the track is playing that way. And I thought the top weight, Mr. Tippler, I thought it was quite good value and could run well. It's had form at Caulfield, a couple of lengths behind King Magnus, who's been outstanding in its last two runs. And then prior to that, it was only a couple of lengths behind Corner Pocket. So I think if you saw a horse like King Magnus or Corner Pocket in this race, you'd want to be on. And I'd tell you what, they'd probably be starting even money. So a horse that's only been a couple of lengths behind them, I'm happy to play. Gets a couple of kilo claim from Tom Sherry, so it's not weighted all that bad with 60 kgs on the back. Drawn well. Mr. Tippler for me and Dick Whittington going wider in the market.
Yeah, well, first of all, God bless King Magnus. It was about the only highlight of last Saturday. But Dick Whittington was ridden out in the last trial, but responded okay. So it doesn't have to have a great deal of talent to be competitive here. I went looking for the Vitesse race, two out of that, which was Monegal, who was sort of given none, and flashed home down the outside. I've sort of based this around hopefully the outside fence being the place to be, or at least middle of the track. And the horse that finished alongside it as a result as well, Think Free, I thought was pretty good first time in town. Probably should have won. Vitesse is honest. We know what we get there, and would probably be around the same price as Canasta in this market if it was here. So happy to play them. They were both a little bit longer when I did the form. But yeah, natural inclination, if I can get that one out, was to look for a bit of value again in a wide race. First leg of the quaddie is the 1,400 meter benchmark 88. I don't know. I could almost go the field here in the quaddie because I could make a case for all of them. Vitesse I just mentioned there. The thing is, I am against Blondo because I thought it had the rails at Randwick on a rails day. Got out and just sniped late. So if I'm against that, I think Surf Dancer can beat at home here. But I don't know if that's a drag on Surf Dancer. So then by the time I did a few circles and looked at Mirror Vision and Dream Circle again and went up and down and looked back at Madam Legends first up, I decided there's probably 5 horses that can win. What am I ultimately saying? I don't know. Maybe Madam Legend on top from the rest just because it's the fresher blood. But did you have a clearer picture?
I went for Madam Legend. I thought its first up run was pretty good. Liked the way it won. Was pretty convincing in that win. As you've highlighted there, this is probably a fairly tough race here, but I just think it's probably the horse on the way up here if it can hold that form. I certainly think it's hardest to beat. Bondo, I think you're right. It had the sit and sniper last start. Prior to that, it had been a little bit disappointing. Again, Bondo is one of those horses, if the money comes for it, I'd probably want to back it. If it doesn't, then it generally doesn't win. It's had the 5 starts this prep, and both times they've backed it in its won, and the other 3 starts where it's been in the market and been a bit soft in the market or just steady has been disappointed. So again, I put Blondo in the category of watch the market, and if there's money for it, you probably know to back it. If there's not, save your money and go elsewhere. But for me, Madam Legend, at this stage, I think it sets up nicely for it.
Excellent. Race number 8 is the 1,000 meter 72. Again, it's a wide open affair. I think this and the last both very wide open. What are you doing in the sprint?
Yeah, tough race. I thought I'd go for Remlap's Gem here. I think it'll be on the pace, if not leading, and hopefully it'll just get a decent enough run in transit here without too much pressure. And I'm hopefully it can stick on. It's a pretty gritty type of a horse. Obviously doesn't want it much further than 1,000 meters. It's back from Grafton, and Grafton form sometimes stands up coming back to this type of class in the city. And it was favourite there, and it had to do all the bullocking work. And the second favourite, Jewel Spirit, sat behind it and blew past it in the last little bit, but it had to sit and was just too strong. I'm hoping it'll just get a bit more luck in running here with a bit less pressure and be hard to beat.
Yeah, cool. That was a $75,000 race. So it was the feature race day at Grafton as well. So fair enough there. I went looking. Oh, I struggled with the race. Ended up coming back to I think the drive for Nikolai Beagle really suits it. By this stage, hopefully outside gate can show the turn of foot it showed first up. Nash goes on to that. And I had 3 looks at Zelify, who is off a 3-month spell, no trial, fresh 1,000 meters, off a couple of decent wins before it went out. But again, looking for value in a wide field, they were the 2 I would be looking to play. You can make a case for what you said about Realm-Lap's Gem is right. Could almost make a case for the Neon Knight. Van Gizzy's going okay.
Yeah, I thought Neon Knight, yeah.
So yeah, a tricky race, but for me, I'd be looking for the value there. The 2 I mentioned, Zelify and Nikolai Beagle, hopefully back to the dry and isn't just a freshie. Second last is the 1,100 meter benchmark 88. Space Boy leads the market back from Flemington. Are you looking to go to that form, or are you going somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to that form. That was a great run by Space Boy first up. They took it to Melbourne. It actually, I'm not sure it actually even led. It was sort of on the pace or near the pace, and then really stuck to its guns really well. It was a different style of run from Space Boy that I've seen before, and that may have been because it was the straight course and not around a bend, where it likes to get out in front and give them something to catch. And I think it'll probably go towards that type of run here. That'll certainly take on the lead and hope to hold on. And I think it might be just a bit too speedy and good for these. Probably a little bit concerned about the jockey, but does get the 3 kilo claim. But just as long as she can rate it well enough in front, could be the hardest horse to get past here.
Yeah, I'm less worried about those sort of jocks. The 3 kilo claiming girl when they're on a leader, because it's sort of one job, get the front and hold on,
and
tight,
a shorter race,
and 1,000 meters. So, the 2 at value though that I sort of went looking for. One's $23 on Fullerage, just pen last prep, 2 nice trials, and drawn for hopefully outside the track if it is the right place to be. And it's $23 here. It'll probably just tag Space Boy if it's not a mad pace first up. I think it's a talented horse. And Valaquenta hasn't had the greatest of luck, but I went looking for some fresh stuff ahead of some of the up and going winter form, which I guess Space Boy does fit that category. Could have a look at Outback Diva, which was 40s, and I think is just tumbled in a little bit as well when I did the form. 1,300 meter race 10 benchmark 78 wraps us up, where it is $7 the field, and I am not sure. I end up just coming back to Vitesse because it's up going, and at least we'll be in front and be giving you a decent sight. Cube Morale, decent enough last week, winning on the quick backup. And Cordia back to dry and getting JMac third pick for me. How have you done this race?
Yeah, I slightly leant towards Cordia being third up and back to the dry. I think that really suits um, the setup here for him. I thought it worked to the line not too bad last start. But yeah, certainly doesn't really handle the softer tracks. And back on the good track, I think we might see a better horse here than what we've seen the last couple of runs. So willing to spec Cordia there on the better track. And I thought the biggest danger was Night of Power. Resume with a nice run, and certainly if they're finishing on down the middle of the track or wider down the track later in the day, it could be hard to beat.
Yeah, Night of Power's in the I want to see it win one category at the moment for
yes.
me, which I found a few of today, I suppose. For progroupracing.com.au, Sydney Quaddie, let's do that first. A wide open affair. You can veto as we go, I suppose, Beaver. The first leg, 1 new arrangement, 2 Surf Dancer, 4 Dream Circle, 5 Mirror Vision, 9 Madam Legend. La Gay Soleil, question mark, yes or no?
Nah.
Leave it out, that's fine. Second leg, take on the 2 toppies. 3 Nikolai Beagle, 4 Remlapse Gem, 7 Neon Knight, 11 Zellify. You may as well play for some value throughout the day unless you want to have some coverage from the favourites there.
No, that's fine.
Third leg, 1 Space Boy, 4 Perigord, finally breaking through, 7 Valaquenta, 11 On Florage, 2 Iron Power should probably go in. And let's come home with 1 Cordia, 3 Cuban Royale, 6 Night of Power, and the 2 emergencies if they get a run, which would be 12 Think Free and 13 Vitesse. We'll see if they get a start. Your best and value.
Yeah, my best bet of the day comes up in race 9, number 1, Space Boy. Making Space Boy my best bet of the day. And my value bet is race 4, number 5, Mr. G.
Yeah, nice. Tough day for me. I think Monegal has to run a place. I'm going to make it my best. I think it won't miss a place, similar to Badouche. My value, let's make it on Florage at the 20s. Just let's finish the racing season with a bit of value as we head down to Moonee Valley. So first up for a while, Moonee Valley. I believe there's been some COVID scares, a few issues down there as well. Some fresh staff in for the meet, but we kick off the rail in the 3 meter mark. Look, Fresh Moonee Valley can tend to play on pace, so a bit scared of that, but 3 meters is generally the fairest track position. Some rain around on a day 2, so again, nervous given we can see when it does rain throughout a Moonee Valley meeting, it can sort of collapse a bit as well. So I've treated it as an on-pace day, and let's see how that plays out. Anything to add?
No, I think that's a fair assumption of how the track might play. And yeah, you could be right. On pace might be the way to play, but we'll get a good guide on that on the first couple of races.
100%. So we're going to kick off in the first where everything should set up for Jigsaw. A pretty soft win. First up, Caulfield. It'll get control here. We'll have a decent guide, maybe not a decent guide because I think it's the best horse, and we'll get a lead, and we'll have the rail in its favour early. And if it bolts away, we might be looking on pace. If something swoops and it turns a bit of sound there, the warning lights might be on. You starting with the favourite in the first?
Yeah, 100%. I think this horse has got a bit of ability, and love the way it won first up, and it'll be winning again here.
Second is the 1,000 metre for the 2-year-old girls, a bit of a wider affair. How are you going to play this?
Yeah, this was a really wide affair, tricky race. Lots of horses in the market here that have got some nice winning form, and a number of the ones in the market are all resuming here. I've gone for Le Roquet from the Makata stable. Liked its first 2 wins, won comfortably, went well in the market at Pakenham, and then come to Flemington and won a really nice race at Flemington down the straight course when it started odds on. Liked the way it trialled at Traralgon, wasn't knocked about, and did enough. Only concern here is the draw, the gate 13, but it's going to probably go forward, so I'm not too worried about that. It'll come out, come running, and be in the lead or just outside the lead, and hopefully it's as we know or said, it's a leader, sort of bit of a leader track.
I found the same horse. I think she's a nice big beast, everything, and she was pretty impressive both starts. And hopefully, yeah, like you said, there's enough where Daniel Moore can get across. I like a senior jockey on the top weight too from out there. But it's a good race. I think that stablemate's a danger, and I think I've had a couple of looks at the 50s or at Chimes from Gay Waterhouse. Trialled pretty well in Sydney. He's gone down there. I thought was interesting and just something outside the market. But interested that we found the same horse. I think it is a talented girl, and we'll see where she heads come spring. Race number 3 over the mile is a handicap. This is the first sort of clash of some fresh blood and some up and going winter stuff. Algaleo, we know likes the track, has bowled in here fresh before, comes off a nice trial and is $9. And this is probably the first instance I was just looking for that fresher horse. Happy to sort of stay there. I think the other two in the market are the obvious. They'll both be close to the pace and be rolling along. I would slightly be concerned about No Effort. Just had a slight concern over the jockey there. But I think Algaleo best horse and can be in the finish. How have you lined him up?
Yeah, I've gone for No Effort. I do have a slight concern over the jockey, but got a 3 kilo claim here. Will go forward and be on pace. And winning form is good form. Happy to play along there, and I think it's probably, I think it'll just it'll be more suited in the run than High Stranger. High Stranger's going to have to come from back in the field. Not convinced the short straight is totally up its alley at Moonee Valley, even though it's 1-1 from one out of here. Its record over this type of distance is not great. So I've gone for No Effort there, and I thought Higher Motion resuming might be a bit of a knockout chance if they can be running home. Be looking further than this, and we'll be looking for sort of different races, but certainly up to this standard if it's ready to go.
Race number 4 is the Cox Plate Start handicap. Oh, it's 2040 meter start. Are you with the Cox Plate horse, or have you looked for something else here?
I've gone for Buckhurst.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep, you want to tell us about it?
Well, look, mate, Irish horse that they've now brought here. I thought its first 2 runs were pretty good in Australia. Finished last year in October. What was it, in the Caulfield Cup, wasn't it?
Both Caulfield Cup, Cox Plate, yeah.
Yeah, in the Caulfield Cup, it was 3 lengths off Very Elegant, which was a nice run. It was well in the market, around the $11 mark. And then we know the Cox Plate wasn't probably greatest track of all time. And so, yeah, it's probably can put a line through that form. This is a lot weaker affair than meeting the likes of Very Elegant and Anthony Van Dyke and Sir Dragon Ace. So $4, I'm surprised that it is not the favourite. I think it'll start favourite and certainly be hardest to beat.
Yeah, I found the same one. I think gate 1, it just sits right on Nudge Bar's back, and Ben Mellon will pop out top of the straight. And hopefully, if it's runs up to its best form, it will win this race. It does have a win over Sir Dragon A back in a previous life. And yeah, started $11 in a Caulfield Cup, $26 in a Cox Plate. Is decent enough form for this. If the rail is hot, Nudge Bar's the one there that's going to be rolling along under Craig Newitt up on the fence.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at that, I'm assuming they've got similar similar races in mind of what they had last year. And if it wants to be running in Caulfield and Cox Plates, it's got to be beating that lot, surely,
Yeah, agree.
over any distance at any time in their campaign.
100%. The 1,514-meter handicap is race number 5. Short price favourite of the super impressive win. I Am Thunderstruck leads the market. Is that how you're leaning?
I've actually gone the other way. I've actually gone for Tuvalu. I thought, I know it. I'm Thunderstruck beat it quite comfortably last start, but Tuvalu had to sit off the pace, and it did get held up for a bit there, and Thunderstruck, um, exploded down the outside and got the jump there and won quite comfortably. In fairness, I just think the other horse will be further improved by that. And I actually think it might get control here. And again, I think if it does get control, it might be able to dictate the pace. And if it can run the right sectionals, might be the hardest to beat.
Yeah, no, cool. I think it will definitely at least close the margin. Yeah, you're right. Held up, and it's 2 good wins. First prep it led, so fitter for the run. $4 is look. I think the market's right. I think I Am Thunderstruck will start in the black, despite the win. We'll know track pattern by now anyway. I end up sticking with Thunderstruck just because it was so impressive, basically being untouched. But definitely think the gap's close. And Sandy's Express is the one at value there that is flying at the moment, and that form's been okay. The Foxy Frida at Flemington form, say that throw it 5 times fast. A mile is race number 6, starts at quaddy benchmark 78 for the girls. What are you doing in this one?
Yeah, I didn't like the race much at all, to be totally honest. I see Betcha Flying has also nominated to come to Melbourne for this race here. I kind of, at the end of the day, ended up going back to the favourite, Go to Lean. It is $4.60, so it's still very backable odds. It finished off really nicely last start. It was doing its best work at the end of the race and pulled away and won fairly comfortable. And prior to that, again, it had form through King Magnus, which is good form. So it gets out to the right distance as well here at 1,600 again. Third up, hard to beat, and a 3 kilo claim.
This is a track pattern race for me. If it is the rail, I want to back So You Assume at around the $8.50. It'll start shorter if it is. Down in weight goes from Alana Kelly to Dean Yendall. It'll be rolling along on pace and it'll be very hard to run down. If we are swooping, if it is classic swooping at Moonee Valley, then Lady Dioro, $9.50, and Go Lean will be the 2 coming down the outside. And I would be happy to back both of them at that price. So very much a track pattern set up for the rest of the day here for me, which we'll see how that all plays out. 2,500 meter benchmark 78. I'm sticking with the impressive. I had a question mark over it last time, but Smoke and Romans was super impressive last time. Car sticks, gates, less of a concern over 2,500 meters. So it'll find a spot, and I think it's up and going now. And the one to beat. Anything to add?
Yeah, nothing to add here, mate. I think looks to be one of the better bets on the program. Loved its win last start. Even its run before that was still pretty impressive. It was second, and 3 decent horses all went across the line together there. Not so worried about the track pattern or anything in the 2,500 meter race here. This horse can get back and finish well, or it can sit within striking range and still finish off its races. Yeah, it looks a nice bet to me.
The second last is the widest race of the day, 3 odds over the 2,040. Could you separate these?
No, I couldn't. Found it really hard. I ended up going down into the market at $16 and the number 12 Cletus. It's only lightly raced, only had the 2 runs. And I thought they were pretty good. Its first run, it finished third at Wangaratta over the 1300. And then come out over the mile at Cranbourne and won really easily. And was on pace. So I'm thinking here may well get up on pace again here, and be hard to beat. Improving horse, working through the classes. So I thought about $16, not without a chance.
Yeah, well, outside lead last start, number 12 Cletus on top for me. You stole my thunder there. So this is very much a track dependent race. If we are on pace, I'll back it and flossing because Craig Neal will take it straight to the front and be very hard to run down. If it's not and it becomes a swoopers, I probably won't take any part in the race. I may still at that price. I can probably still back Cletus anyway. But I thought it was that last win was okay with a bit in hand. So we'll just wait and see how the track plays. But nice find there. It's a bit scary.
It is.
Let's take it home with the 1200 meter benchmark 70. And well, I'll wrap up the day. I don't overly like the race. I think if it's on pace, I'm more than happy to back Imperial Lad. Alana Kelly rolling along in front. It's a little honest battler who you know what you're going to get. If we're making ground, I will be backing Flash Flood off the impressive, went out with the impressive track and distance win just before last prep. And Jamie Carr, gate 11 will be in the right spot, I would hope. How are you finishing the day?
Yeah, I narrowed it down to 2. I had Flash Flood as 1, and I also on top, but I also like Rock in the Park. I thought it was a really good win first up. Ex-New Zealander who had some really good form in New Zealand, then had its 2 starts last prep in Australia and didn't do much and didn't show much at all. But they were in pretty decent races. They were in races behind Regards Marie, who was flying at that time and has a bit of ability, at Caulfield on Australia Day, I think it was. And then came out at Ballarat and didn't do a lot as well. It was only a couple of lengths off Revless, but then was quickly spelled and then brought back last start, was long odds at 40s and flew home and did the business. And at $12 here, I think it can also be a chance sitting off the pace. And if they're finishing on okay, hard to beat.
Yeah, nice. Very interesting one there. Do you want to lead us in the Victorian Quaddie?
Yeah, I'll lead us in the Victorian Quaddie, mate. Let me just have a look. Here we go. You ready?
Fire away.
Numbers 2, 3, 6, 10, 11.
Yep. As I said, Lady Dora would be the only one I might add there.
In the second leg, I'm going 5 and 6.
Yep.
Just going skinny there. In the third leg, I'm going number 1, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, and 12.
Yep.
Slightly wider there. And then to finish the day, I'm going numbers 1, 7, 10, and 18.
Yep, I like it. Very good. For progroupracing.com.au, check out Progroup Racing for their free tips and extensive guides on the verge of a new racing season. What is your best and value at Moonee Valley?
Yeah, my best is race 7, number 5, Smoking Romans. I think it's going to be super hard to beat. Got a bit of a liking for that. And then my value bets of the day came up in the last. Race 9, number 7, Rock in the Park.
Very good. I'll make my I'll make my best race one, number one, Jigsaw on a tricky day, and my value. So you assume if the rails are on, I'll be backing that later in the day. Have you got anything for us up north? Don't even know where
Yep.
Eagle Farm.
Eagle Farm, mate. Do have a few up north for us. You'll be glad to hear. Race 3, number 8, Luna Mia, roughly around the $455 mark. I think that's a really nice bet.
Need to get that alarm and the Messiah alarm.
Yes.
That's something for next week.
Race 7, number 7, Triple Ace. Race 8, number 1, Emerald Kingdom, around the $5. And to finish the day, nice bet in the last. Race 9, number 1, Eloquently, and the $3.10 at the moment.
I know that was very impressive last week, but I didn't quite understand the ride on the favourite in that race. But
it was a shocker.
That's why. But it was very
an
impressive.
Absolute shocker.
And that was a story of the day last Saturday. There was a few rides that I didn't quite comprehend. Let's say,
yes.
For progretracing.com.au, it's been show us your tips. If you are listening or watching us on YouTube or Spotify, give us a like and a subscribe. Jump on our socials under the same name, and of course, check out progretracing.com.au for more. Stay safe, Sydney siders, through lockdown. Hopefully, we're all back to what we do sooner rather than later. But in the meantime, there's not much else to do but have a bet on the Saturday. So good luck, punters. And Beaver, I will see you for the midweek show next midweek. Catch you guys.
Sounds good.